All right, looks like we are live and officially back after I don't even know how many days we had off. I lost track. But it's Dom. I'm back with my co-host Drew. Hi Drew, how are you doing? How was your little gap?
Oh, Dom, I missed our little get together so much. It was a good gap. Could have been better if there was Survivor LU to keep me company, but we're back and we had a great finale.
Exactly.
So I'm ready to get into it.
They production left us on quite the cliffhanger. We we had our finale, and spoiler alert right now for everybody watching, we are joined with Survivor LU season 1 winner Nathan Bennett. Nathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Nice. So glad that you're here. For me, I was only waiting a month, but for you, it's been about what, 2 years to finally
Yeah, about a year and a
you've
half.
won? Year and a half.
Yeah.
So I guess starting right off the bat, before we dive into this last episode, let's talk about, what drew you to Survivor LU. I want to find out the story from the beginning to the end. Nathan, what got you casted? What do you think, the producer saw in you? What even led you to show up to the audition in the first place?
Yeah, that's crazy. So I never watched Survivor as a kid. I know Luke and a few of the others grew up with it. I didn't. We watched a lot of The Amazing Race, but not Survivor. And then around 2 years ago, I'd say maybe 3 years ago, me and my mom just watched a season just because we were bored. Because we watched TV shows together, and we just turned it on and we got hooked immediately. We watched Token Teens, if that's how you pronounce it. And so it hooked us in. We binged all of it basically. I think we watched around 30 seasons in about 6 months. So it was a crazy spree. Wow. We loved it. Just the chemistry of the game is it's just amazing. And I immediately was like, this is such a cool experience, such a cool game. And so that was kind of where I stopped with Survivor, just as a game I loved. And we, of course, started watching it when it aired on TV live. And then I chose to go to college, kind of last second, switched from another college. So I didn't know anyone coming to Liberty. It was a really last second thing. Showed up, met some people in the hall, but I hadn't really met anyone outside of people in my dorm. And one day I was just walking through one of our student academic buildings, and there was a poster that said Survivor LU first season, calling anyone that wants to play. And I was like, all right, why not? I just went for it, just threw a poster on the wall. And the interview, I was really nervous. I was thinking I was going to fail it. And I thought I failed it actually. After I did it, I was like, this is terrible. They're going to hate me. I can just expect the denying email. So I just felt like I was awkward. But turns out I think they respected, because I brought up a bunch of old players. I think they respected the old school type gameplay.
Yeah,
I mentioned, and I guess that was history. And then I got the email and just loved the game. That was the main reason why I chose to play. It's just I love it. So.
Nice. Yeah, Token Teens was my first season, so that I got into, except I watched it live. Don't mean to, but I mean, I respect the binge as well. That's insane. But yeah, so you start off on Gihan. What were your initial thoughts going into, you see the group of people that you're with? What was the vibe? Because you guys had control relatively early, with you, Luke, Alexa, and then you just had your little squad early on in the game. What drew you guys together, and what maybe what were your first thoughts?
Yeah, so going in, I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea if the producers were going to be more old school or new school, because at that time, that's when kind of Heroes versus Healers with the fire making twist had just started. So there was all that new school stuff. So I didn't really know what to expect at all. I met David first. He's the first guy that was there. I came relatively early, if I remember correctly. And David was there, and I met him. And I got a good vibe from him, actually. He was a really nice guy. And I was like, all right, I could see each other working together. And then when I saw Luke, Luke came pretty shortly after that. That's when I knew, okay, this is a guy I think I'm going to want to work with immediately. It's weird because I always mention on the show, first impressions are real, and they just really are. Sometimes you just know, and I felt like that we both felt that. So I met Luke there, and then of course the tribes were divided by shirts, so I didn't talk with a lot of Tigers people at all. I only talked to really the people that were wearing blue. So I got really good vibes from Luke originally. Not really anyone else, to be honest. It was really just Luke. Everyone else I was very apprehensive about. Then after, of course, the challenge and all that happened, we did get together as a tribe, and I started to get to feel better about who I was with. And then when David left first, and then it was Addie, Grace, and Megan, then they left pretty quickly, honestly. Maybe 30 to 45 minutes after we'd started meeting. Like, it wasn't like 2 or 3 hours where we had all connected. They left relatively early. So that left those 5. And right there, Ben said at first, just make this the 5 that we go with, because they left. Like, we have a majority now. Why not just go for it? And I was all for that, just because if I can put myself with other people, of course I'm gonna go for it. So that's kind of the game evolved. And then, of course, after that, us 5 met, me, Luke, and Liz went off to a place where we ate, as you can see in the episode, and we just fist bumped right there. And I guess that was kind of the beginning of the entire game. It was literally within 1 hour of the challenge ending. It's just kind of crazy how fast it all evolved. But overall, really good vibes from Luke, and then Liz was the biggest one that night as well.
Nice. So what are your thoughts going? So we see you guys end up losing a couple, more than a couple, and we see you guys swap, like going into, it was the 2 Gihan, 2 Tigress, and you guys had the idol. What were your thoughts going to that tribal council?
Man, that was I don't want to say all of my entire game was luck, but I think the 2 most lucky moments by far of the entire season were the way the tribes divided and the rock draw. Those 2 are really what cemented, I felt like, my path, which is pure luck. But because the first one, of course, we needed Ben. It just worked perfectly that Tigers didn't have a majority on any of the tribes except for the one that won. It just worked out really well that way. It could have been so much worse. So, especially that Ben was the only one alone, because I felt like Ben might have been the most willing to flip on an original Gihan, since he had his name written down by Luke, the previous tribal council. So, if someone was with him, I could have been gone. Anyone that was with him on a completely different scenario could have been in big trouble. So the way that the tribes divided was perfect for that. Obviously, a 4-person tribe is awkward, especially when it's a 2-2. So I was very apprehensive, of course, at first, but you can always work with 4 people. You can talk to everyone very easily. So I was nervous, but I felt like I could get through it. And then, of course, when the idols come out that Luke gets and Liz get 2 separate idols, I was just shocked. That's the first time that Luke was not 100% up front, because he did not tell me instantly that he found those clues. They found the idols first, I believe. I could be wrong about that. I think they found the idols first, and they told me, we found these idols. We're going to, we can change the game here. So I was, of course, ecstatic, because I knew I was instantly safe. Me and Alexa were instantly safe if we do acquire an idol. So, because I honestly didn't really care if Garrett or MJ went home at that tribal. I was pretty even on, they both definitely had pros and cons to going. So I was ecstatic when I heard about those idols, and that we would most likely, unless something crazy happened, go into the merge 5-5. So, but it was pure luck, I think, that the tribes divided that way.
Well, part of the game is adapting to the luck that you are given. And I believe that you overcame, 2 of the craziest tribal councils that seem to be back to back, between the 2 idol plays, the rock draws. From a viewer's point of view, I feel like that's where you started to make your moves, was at the merge, because you guys did see the Gihan and the Tigers kind of, butting heads a little bit. But we see you talking to the other side as well. They were constantly on you guys, like, make a big move. And you guys, you guys stayed Gihan strong for what it seemed to be the most part. Did that hold true to you? Did you, in the moment, did you see yourself as like playing like a big move game, or did you recognize that, you're playing like this middle ground?
Do you mean specifically for the merge week, or just the game in general?
Like throughout the whole merge, I guess. Like, and I guess in the pre-merge, did you see yourself as this person that was gonna, let Luke take all these like bullets, I guess, so to speak?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really risky strategy to go with that, because if you talk to too many people, Obviously, they can compare notes and say, you've talked to everyone, let's get him out of here. So I definitely had an idea that I did want to play that card to connect with people. I just didn't want to share too much information with them because everyone kind of in the tribe and after the merge kind of knew that people were talking with everyone. Like that's obviously part of the game, but you don't want to, spill too much information and give your allegiance to too many people because I think that's a easy way to get booted. So I wanted to do it very carefully, and I do think that was probably one of the better components of my game because I think I did that well. I think I was able to talk to people but not share too much information to make them trust me at the same time, and that worked out really well pre-merge, of course, with Liz and Ben and Luke, and then post-merge it was kind of weird because the people that I was doing that with I voted out basically that week. So which is very risky too, because then they can see that you're just trying to get jury votes. So, but all those moves where I was trying to kind of play the middle ground, I legitimately kind of wanted to do those moves, like the one with MJ and Luke and Dawson. Like we seriously considered that. And that night when we had that meeting, we said we were going to do it. Like we were totally in on it. The next day was tribal, I think. And we were like, this is a move we're going to make. We're going to switch this game up. We're going to make this freshman alliance and go for it. But then that next morning, me and Luke texted into each other and we're like, this is way too risky. We can't, if we do this, we could be immediately sending ourselves over to the jury. So we decided not to last second. And then the one with Dawson and Liz and Ben, I reached out to Ben to, flip on to work with Dawson after his idol play was a very, very real move that I was considering doing. And I wanted to do it. I pitched it to Ben first and he said no immediately. And I did it with Liz. And then that night, Liz said, no, I'm out. And if Liz is out, I can't do anything because I wouldn't have had the numbers. So all of those kind of in the middle moves I was strongly considering doing. They just didn't work out.
Yeah. I think you play. I mean, obviously you played like that flawlessly. I remember me and Drew talking about you being in a great position week to week to week. Going into the final six, going into the finale as a whole, or final five, I believe the finale was. Going into the final five, did Ben just strongly appear to be like your top competition at that time? Like, how would you rank like the final five in terms of who you thought you could beat?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So at the time, I 100% thought Ben could win. After his crazy 2 tribals, I thought I could beat Ben because Ben is, very extroverted. He's very talkative. But at that time, he really hadn't done anything major. He had just kind of flown under the radar, which isn't a bad strategy, but I felt like I'd done way more than he had. So up to that point, I felt very confident. I still think his challenge performance was very well, and that's why he was on my hit list that week, and especially because Alexa and Liz wanted him out really badly. But I was like, if Ben doesn't go home this week, it wouldn't be the end of my game because I still think I could beat him. But after he did those shenanigans with that fake idol, I instantly knew, or at the time I thought he would sweep. I mean, not sweep, but I would lose to him. Absolutely. So that's why he was enemy number 1 at the final 5. But of course, at the time, I thought he was immune. So he was not even on my radar, which is silly. But I just was so convinced that idol was real. I can't believe I didn't see through that. Especially people kept saying his hands were shaking so bad when he was holding out the clue and reciting what he had memorized. So it's really silly that we didn't split on him that week. But anyways, so I at the final 5, I thought Ben would definitely beat me. But the other 4 or the other 3, I felt relatively confident I could beat them. Liz and Nicole, I felt pretty confident I could beat them just because I had heard a lot about Nate and Nicole about how they weren't loved by the previous Tigers members, except for Ellie. I knew MJ. It sounded like MJ was definitely, and Dawson were not too fans of the way that they were playing. So I felt pretty confident I could steal out from Nicole on that. And then Liz, I knew I could beat. No, like just the way she played, I felt like I was always not controlling her, but I just felt like I was always the one that would kind of come up with the ideas. So I felt confident, and I was pretty sure the jury would see that too at final tribal. And then Alexa was the one I was next scared about for sure, just because the way she talks, as you can see in the episodes, is extremely convincing. So I do think I still could have beaten her, but it would have been a fight. It would have been very close. I feel like maybe even 4-3 on jury votes. So
Yeah, my question for you was going to be how confident were you beating Nicole going into the end? Because I think from a viewer perspective, and like obviously I knew that you won, but like I didn't know what the vote split was or anything, and I was like, oh, it's going to be a 4-3. If he wins, it's going to be 4-3. But I feel like watching the episode live and interacting with the other people who were not spoiled on the season, most people thought Nicole was winning. So yeah. So I guess my question is, what did we not see that held Nicole back or pushed you forward? Because, like I said, from the audience perspective, most of us thought Nicole were winning, was winning.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the number one thing that really hurt her game was that idol. I think that idol severely damaged it because if she had found it that week, that would have been one thing. But she found that week 3, I think, and held on to it through so many pivotal votes for Tigers where they could have dramatically taken control. I think was really not annoying, because that sounds mean, but it was really confusing to Dawson and MJ specifically because they just felt like if Nicole plays that idol, because they knew that we were voting for Nate on the Rocks week. Like they knew who the vote was going to. So if Nicole plays that idol for Nate, they take control for a long time. So I think that really was perplexing to MJ and Dawson. And then when she played it at Final 5, when she didn't even need it, I think just came off very unnecessary, potentially. And that's what I've heard. And then also, I think just the way she played really well. Don't get me wrong. I think she rode under the radar fantastically. But I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of people base their jury votes off of like what you can see and not what you hide through. And I think that was a little more apparent with my game. But if she had played that idol correctly at any point in the game, I think it could have been very different at the end.
Interesting. Another question that I have for you. So, in your final speech or jury questioning, you mentioned that you weren't sure if you would have ever turned on Luke. Had he not gone out anyway. So I guess my question for you is, had you made it to the final 3 with Luke and Liz, do you think you still would have won?
Oh, no. Luke would sweep. Luke played almost flawlessly, I think, except for
I don't know about that, but
I think he played almost flawlessly until he made that thing with the fake idol at the tower. I think that severely, up to that point, I can't think of anything he did wrong, honestly. Like I think he made really good connections. I think he was very likable. But I think when he did the fake idol thing that I knew nothing about, he didn't tell me about that. There was actually someone was filming because I was searching on the other side of the tower when that was happening, and I told the person that was filming it's like a confessional, basically. I don't know why Luke did that. That was a terrible decision because now he just made other people dislike him even more because I think they didn't love him at the time. The Tigers people, I mean. And then also, I think he talked to Dawson right before he voted him out, and I think that was probably a bad move. I think Dawson saw that as like just looking for Dawson's jury vote to go to Luke. So those are the two things that I think that might have been detrimental to his game. But if I get to the final 3, I still think he wins because I think was a target for most of the game, and I mean, in Real Survivor, big targets make to the end, they generally fare well. So I think he would have beaten me. I do.
Yeah, there was going back to the Nicole edit and all that stuff. That blew me away, Nathan. Not gonna lie, I was watching it and I was like, "Oh, Nathan's getting a Gavin edit from Edge of Extinction." I was like, he's been a part of every single vote that that I can think of. And he's been an important part of them, but like I feel like Nicole is just gonna come out and like she's got the idol, she's got the final immunity win, she's got a good story, and when you came out on top by that much of a margin, I was actually like very surprised by that. When it was 3-4 Nathans in a row, I was like congrats, good, of course, well earned. But as somebody who picked Nicole as his winner pick, I was a little bummed, not gonna lie. But yeah, I was. So my question for you, I guess. Not just for Nicole, but for anybody throughout the season. based on what you saw in the episodes, was there somebody that was playing a little bit harder or, had more control of the game than you originally thought when you were in the game?
That's a really good question. Ben was meeting with way more people than I thought when I saw the show, watching it back. Like I knew he'd aligned with Nicole. He told me that week 5, but like I think he just met with more people than I thought in general. I don't know if that means he had more control, but I think he just met with more. And then Nate, I think, was shown to have played the hardest going through after watching the episodes. Like I just felt like he was playing so hard, and so. I guess those are the two. When I watched the episodes back, I was like, wow, they did a little more than I thought. And of course, Nicole's confessionals were amazing. So they were hilarious the entire season. So that was fun to watch too, see other people's confessionals, because mine were so boring. I just sat there the entire time in this monotone voice. So it was fun to see other people say some crazy stuff. But yeah, those are the two that stuck out the most, or three, I guess, that stuck out: Nate, Ben, and Nicole on the edit. I don't know if I'd say any of them played any better now that I watched it, but those are the three that kind of stuck out.
Let's do a hypothetical here. Let's say, Nathan, that you went out at Final Four. Mm-hmm. Who would you have voted to win?
Ben, easily. I wouldn't have considered it. I think Liz would have maybe taken that personally, but if Ben had won, if the like I said earlier, the idol stuff had not happened with Fake Idol, it would have been very close between Nicole and Ben for sure. Because I probably still would have ended up voting Ben in that scenario, but I think Nicole getting that far would have been very impressive. I just think that Ben's Fake Idol play and the way he spoke it, even though it was very obvious from the edit that it was a lie at the time, I just think it was really smart. I mean, it was a last-ditch scenario for him, and it worked. Which you very, very rarely see. So I would have definitely given him my vote had that happened.
Interesting. How do you feel like the other jury members would have fallen?
Oh man, that's interesting. Oh man. Liz still would have gotten 0 votes, so I know that for sure.
I loved Liz being delusional in the finale. Yeah. Honestly, that was one of my favorite parts of the finale. And I'm not saying that to be mean. No, I just love Liz being like, yeah, I'm going to win. Like, I can win this.
Yeah, that was actually the biggest surprise watching it back, was how convinced she was that she was going to win, which was very interesting to watch for sure, because she never gave me that vibe. Or she never said anything to me the finals week about how she felt confident in her game. She never told me that. So it was really fun to watch that back. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Sorry, there was a question before that. I forgot it.
No, you're totally good. I mean, I guess the question before that was just, how do you think the votes would have fallen?
Oh, yeah.
But I guess I can elaborate that a little bit more. And how confident you were going into that final tribal council. What was your read on the jury like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for the part one, where how would the votes have fallen, I think Ben still would have won, but it might have been 4-3. It might have been Gihan votes for Ben, Tigris votes for Nicole. I don't know about that, because at the time I didn't know anyone on the jury well at all. So it could have still been a big Ben win, but I think some of the cockiness that Ben showed in the episode, I think Ray rubbed some of the jury members the wrong way. So I don't know. I think it might have been 4-3. I think it would have been very close had that happened. And then going in confidence-wise, I did feel confident with that final tribal. I felt like, I think I said in either the previous episode or Final 5, that if Ben loses the final, and I thought there was going to be that fire-making challenge they do on Current Survivor, so I was really convinced Ben was going to make it. But I felt that if Ben does go home at Final 4, I think I do win the game. So I was pretty confident. I was still nervous because I knew Nicole had done a good amount that I might not have had seen. I thought that Ellie would have voted for Nicole, and I knew Nate was going to vote for Nicole. But the others, I did feel pretty confident. Like Luke, I was pretty dang confident Luke was going to vote for me, and Ben told me he was going to vote for me if I sent him out. So I felt like I got Ben, and then. The others were a little bit of a 50-50. Alexa I wasn't positive about, and MJ I wasn't positive about. But I felt pretty confident.
So speaking of voting Ben out, you and Ben talked. We see in the episode, and Ben asked you, "Hey, make it a tie." How seriously did you actually consider that? Because had you done that, my mind would have been blown. That would have been, in my opinion, an awful decision.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like, how much you actually considered that.
I did consider it because part of me just wants to play against the best and try and just battle it out. I don't know why, because that's really dumb, but it really did cross my mind. I thought about it probably for a solid 30 minutes before tribal, just like, should I do it? Should I legitimately make it so that the best have to battle it out? Because if I do that and Ben does lose that, then I definitely win. Like, that's a lock on a win because people would really respect that, I think. So I did weigh the pros and the cons, but at the end, I was like, if something goes wrong, I would never forgive myself if Ben got there and beat me solely because I wanted to play against the best. So, but I really did strongly consider it. But going into tribal, I was pretty cemented that I was going to vote Ben.
So you lasted every single round. You've been to every single challenge. And I guess we can do some end of season recaps with you, starting with what was your favorite and least favorite challenge?
Oh, that's a good question. Definitely the one this sounds terrible. The one I won, I really liked just because I love Survivor trivia in general, just like questions. So I found it fun to think back on the season and make it so that you had to remember previous things because that's important a part of the game. Remembering, what happened, who went, and why. So I just enjoyed that question in general. And running on the ice was fun. It was just fun to do. So that one was probably my favorite. Least favorite was the spoon one with the coins. It just felt like a minute to win challenge. It didn't feel Survivor like every other one. I think the producers knocked it out of the park. Like I think they were really awesome challenges throughout the entire season. Like it truly brought in the competitive spirit. But that was the only one I was like, I'm not a fan of this, just because it just didn't give me that Survivor feel.
I think everyone hated that challenge, including production. So
I think so too. And then it was just so easy to fall. That was probably my least favorite.
Nice. I guess the next one. What was the tribal council that you were at that you were the most nervous about?
That's tough. Definitely the rocks going in, because I was very convinced I was going to have to draw a rock that night. I did not think they were going to put the votes on me at all. I don't know. I didn't think they would. I thought they'd put them on Liz or Alexa, not me. So going into that, I was extremely nervous, and then at that tribal, I was extremely nervous because even though I felt good in our 5, if one person flips, that's it, game over. So I was pretty dang nervous about that one overall, but that's kind of a cliche answer because everyone was nervous about that one. Outside of that, probably final 5. I still felt confident that Ben was going to vote Alexa, but with 5 people left, you just don't know. So I felt like I just ruined my game in the previous week because we didn't take Ben out. So I really felt bad just that entire week. I was just kind of down in the dumps because I just felt like it was kind of over. Even so, I was like, even if I survive this vote, Ben's going to get to the end because I was very convinced he would win final immunity with how good he had been. Because I was convinced it would be an endurance challenge because they usually are. So I was pretty down in the dumps. So I guess you could say I was nervous. I was more sad that week. But definitely the rock draw would have been the most nerve-wracking.
And you should also feel bad about the rock draw because Ellie went out. And Ellie, as we know or should know, is the fan favorite of the season. For me. But
she wins if she gets through that thing. So
yeah.
I guess since we spoke with Ellie, and last time we spoke with Ellie, she gave some rumblings of people coming back. And so I have a question for you. Not that I'm not going to ask just yet if you would come back because that's not where I'm going right now. But since you are the winner, you are not eligible to come back for Survivor LU Second Chances. Who from your cast would you like to come back and see finish their story? Who has the most unfinished business? You can give a couple names, or you can
Garrett.
I would say Garrett. You know where mine is.
Oh man, there's a lot. There's legitimately a lot. Like I really do feel like the casting was fantastic for this first season, because I really think everyone after the merge could come back and give a good game in the end. Now, if I had to choose specifically, Ellie definitely is number one, because she was robbed. I mean, if she survives that rock vote, she gets very far, if not winning. And same thing with Dawson. I think if Tyrus wins that rock vote, Dawson would have gotten very far. I just think that people didn't want to flip on him because he was so likable. So I think those two are the number one. Like, those are tier one of I think they should come back and get redemption. Luke is a close second, though, like close third, I guess. Because he played so well up to after that merge. I just think that was the tipping point for him. But I think if he came back, he could play very, very well. Obviously, it might be difficult now that people see how he plays, but I think he could give a really good case for a returning season. And then Ben, of course, too. I think it'd be fun to watch Ben again. I'm not sure how well he'd do, but I just think he's such a funny guy and such a good guy and a good player. I think it'd be fun to watch Ben. And then Nicole, too. I'd love to see Nicole play. I know she graduated. She doesn't live close to Lynchburg anymore. But I think it'd be really fun to see Nicole come back. And Nate, both of those. Like, really, everyone after the merge, I would love to see come back, just because I think they all had parts of their story that ended very suddenly. I think most of the cast did. I mean, Luke was idled out. Ellie, Rock. Nate was kind of idled out. Not really, but kind of. So many of the stories kind of ended abruptly. I'd love to see a lot of those post-merge players come back.
Let me ask you, Dom, who are your top two picks to play again from the season?
My top two picks, I got to say Luke, of course. Luke and Dawson, I guess. Them hand in hand were two of the most entertaining people that, when I watch these live games, I want to see people come out, they play hard, and, you do what you got to do. Yeah, if you go home, like, at least you made some big moves, you made some good entertainment. And those two definitely provided that in spades with everything that they did. Every minute that they were on screen, I was just like, you guys better make it to the end. Even though I know you're going home tonight, just based on your edit, like, I hope you guys make it to the end. So I hope those two come back. But then I also enjoy a good under the radar person. Nathan, you came out on top with that one, but again, I'd love to see Nicole back. I'd love to see Ellie back as well. And again, I'm just kind of repeating what Nathan said. Like, Ben, I like the big personalities as well. Ben and Nate as well. They basically carried a really good narrative all the way up to the finale. So everybody's story is great, and I'm sure production would do a great job with whoever they choose to bring back. I love this cast. You guys did great.
Yeah, they did awesome.
I do have a question for you, Nate, though, because we are on the topic of casting, and I try to watch as many of these college survivors as I can, but what separated you guys from everybody else was your diversity in majors and diversity in age. So what was it like for you coming in as a freshman, seeing, grad students, seeing seniors, and then, like, I mean, you barely, I guess, even know your campus. At least I didn't when I was a freshman. So what was it like for you, the added pressure of real life college, and then playing this whole new game with, people from all over?
Yeah, it was intense for sure, to say the least. I put on too many credits my freshman year too, so I had too much schoolwork on top of it all. But it was intense. It was intense, but it was really good intense, because I loved the game of Survivor so much. I was just having fun with it. I was like, even if I go home this week or next week, it's still worth it. I felt like I did a good job of not putting myself too into it. Like, I would not have been crushed if I'd been voted out. I would have been disappointed, sure, but I would not have been, like, super, super upset. So it was definitely stressful, but it was a good stress. Like, I know other players might not think that at all, but I really personally didn't affect me outside of the game much at all. I liked it. I enjoyed the stress of it. Like, it was fun. So it didn't really affect me. I didn't really have any issues with it.
So let's get to it. Will you play again? Would you play again?
That's a good question. I'm kind of on the Cochran train of my story's complete. I mean, I came in, I did what I wanted to do. It went way better than I thought it would have. If something happened where I got the call and there was a lot of people, because like I said, we just finished our 4th season recently, so we've seen a lot of amazing players and 3 great winners. So if something came out of that and we got a cast that needed to have people in it from season 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, I would never rule it out. But for right now, I'm pretty happy with the way things turned out. So
the king will stay king, I guess.
I don't know about that. There's better kings and queens coming up. So
Ooh, okay. Yeah. So I guess another question. You mentioned that you have been a part of production. What was it like, kind of going from playing to being on the other side of things for you? Like, what? Tell me about it.
It's interesting. It's really interesting. Watching Tribal from not sitting in those seats and just seeing everyone's faces at the same time as they talk about what's been happening in the past week. It's been really fun to watch. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. There's been some crazy moments from the past 3 seasons. I had no idea were going to happen. So it's really fun to watch. Like, it's been great. I've made so many good friends through Survivor here. The community's just been really, really, really cool to join. So it's been a blast. It's definitely the best decision I made here at Liberty, was playing originally and then joining. It's always something to look forward to, because on Monday nights something crazy is probably going to happen. And so just seeing people really take it seriously. Like, that's the thing too. So many games people are like, we don't care. We're just here to chill and don't care about the game at all. But all 3 seasons, almost every person has really tried hard, which is just super cool to watch. I mean, people really do take it seriously. I think that's just because it's genuine connections, it's genuine people you're talking to and you're making friends with. I mean, all 3 seasons there have been friendships that I think will last lifetimes, formed through Survivor. So I think it's really, really cool to watch, and it's definitely sad at times, and there's tears and there's laughs and all sorts of that. But overall, I've loved it.
Mm-hmm. From my experience, I have done 4 seasons of my show, Survivor Dearborn, and it's been about 3 years since we aired our last episode. So I am so glad that you finally have your first season done, because some of my, favorite things to do in my free time is to go look at, episode 1 or the finale of one of my seasons, just to bring back those memories. So I'm glad that you guys finally have at least 1 season under your belt on YouTube so that everybody can watch it.
For sure.
Yeah. So what can we, from the production aspect, what can we expect from Survivor LU in the future, from our first winner? What can we expect?
Oh man, it's a good question for sure. There's gonna be some awesome stuff coming up, hopefully. We filmed all the 3 seasons. Same kind of thing here. We've had some amazing challenges. So I really think we go up and up from here. Honestly, I think 2, 3, and 4 all have just as crazy players as Dawson, Luke, and Ben, and all these crazy guys. All 3 seasons, I think, have some really cool moments. So I think, definitely keep watching as soon as we get these things out. I think there's definitely going to be some moments where people are gonna their mouths are going to be open again. So definitely, I think as soon as we can get them out, we will, and I hope you guys enjoy them. But I think we keep going up. I really do. I don't just say that because I'm on production. I genuinely believe it. So.
Right, and well, I feel like all season this season I have said every episode that I've come back on here, the episodes keep getting better, and so if we continue with that trajectory with the seasons, whew.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't tell you the last time a final 6 tribal council has put me that much on the edge of my seat. You guys constantly raise the bar each episode. So I hope your season 2, 3, and 4 cast. We're ready to jump that bar because you guys set it definitely very high. Just in the like everything that you guys did. And Nathan, you played an incredible game for your first season. And I hope, despite you not saying that you don't want to anymore, I hope that you can come back and reclaim the title again. But that's just in my Survivor LU fantasy league, whatever I can have going on.
Appreciate
it. Drew, do you have any final questions, any final statements on your end of things?
Honestly, just great job, great game. I think you definitely earned that win. You deserved it. You were fun to watch. You weren't a boring character. Especially compared to like what you were up against character-wise. I think you were entertaining. You played a great game. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, congrats, Nathan. Again, I can't say it enough. Survivor, I can't even imagine doing one of those things. So the fact that you made it that far is incredible. So we will also probably be interviewing, hopefully, the rest of your final 5 castmates. Sometime this week, we will definitely get a schedule going accordingly. So everybody who is tuning in tonight or will tune in later. Definitely check that out. We will be getting Ben, Nicole, and hopefully Liz and Alexa in the coming days. So definitely keep up with that. And it kills me to say this, but we will not be seeing you next or this Thursday to watch Survivor LU. But again, fantastic first season. Congratulations to you. Congratulations production and the cast. You guys put on a great show, and I can't wait to see season 2. Whenever you guys drop it, I will be the first one to hit that like button.
For sure. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for all the amazing coverage. Seriously, like it's been so fun. It was a highlight of my week was tuning in to see what people think about what you guys and what the previous contestants thought about the game. It was really good memories, like you said earlier, to see what people think and people that don't know what happened, because I've only talked to people that know the end result. So to hear you guys' theories and so on, it was amazing. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Yeah, of course. And I hope you didn't keep track of how many theories we got wrong, because I feel like I got a decent amount wrong. But,
I got a lot wrong. I knew who was winning the season.
So yeah, I mean, again, congratulations to everybody on all ends. And with that, I hope everybody who is tuned in tonight has a great night. And everybody who else is listening, have a great morning, afternoon, evening. See you guys later.
See ya.
Bye.